What's up,
Everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ball Talk with Boyd. I'm your host, Spencer Boyd, and man, do I have a great episode in store for you all today. I have a wonderful guest who is so experienced in so many facets of the sports world, and you guys aren't going to want to miss it. Here we go. We got Miss Killeen Mullen. Give it up for Miss Killeen. Thank you so much for joining me, Miss Killeen. How are you?
Good. Thank you, Spencer. It's great to be with you.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So let's get the ball rolling. So your background in sports. So you have a very long list of experiences, but what originally sparked you to want to work in the sports world?
I really fell into it when I was coming out of school. I went to Notre Dame. I was applying for PR internships and a bunch of different things and was up for something. And I actually had one of my sisters said, if you don't get this, you need to go work for Club Med. She had just come back from a vacation there. She was literally like dragged there by her friend. Definitely wasn't like our family vacation destination or type of vacation. And she said, I don't know, I can just picture you there. So long story short, I ended up at Club Med. It was one of the best job interviews I've ever had. And I ended up there teaching in their tennis program and leading some of their tennis programs in different villages. And just kind of fell in love with being back on the tennis court. Was there for a while and then knew I wanted to stay in tennis, but really wasn't sure how I wanted to do it. So I went to Voluntary Tennis Academy, which is now IMG Academies. And I did a great program there, which was called Work Play. And we trained in the morning, we were coached in the morning, and then we coached in the afternoon. And one thing led to another there, and I ended up coming off the courts and working on events that they were having. And again, just kind of fell in love with sports and events as a combination.
Yeah, and I feel like that's such a path in sports that a lot of people don't really think about, because so many people think that if you're going to work in sports, you have to be a coach, you have to be a trainer, you have to do ticket sales and all those different things. But you found something early on that so many people just don't really even know about, which is really cool. So when you say event planning, what do you mean event planning for the tennis?
So we hosted a lot of tournaments at the academy. So it was just that coordination of, everyday logistics, arrivals, court times, the experience that's happening, at the facility around the courts. So we ended up hosting some big events there, and it was really just a great story and a great opportunity to put your hand up and say, sure, I'll help. And I learned a lot when I was there. I was also working on our international marketing, and was able to work with this amazing ad agency that was kind of rebranding the academy at the time. So I got some really great experience and friendships with them. And they, unbeknownst to me, actually recommended me for a job at the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I ended up in hockey. And when I went there, it was another great opportunity because the job that I was doing, kind of like an in-house graphic designer, helping with marketing, was also an extension in the marketing department of the game presentation. There wasn't a department that physically owned that. And over the years with, I just had really great opportunities to create my own department there, and to build a game entertainment, game operations department, and then take on all the event work that was coming in, that the team was doing. So it was a great evolution.
Yeah, that's a big turn from tennis to hockey. So how long is Tampa Bay? Was they a newer franchise when you joined them, or were they still pretty established?
They were pretty new, which was really fun. We were playing at the time where the Tampa Bay Rays play, which is now
Tropicana
Field. Yeah, it was called It was called Thunderdome. And it was such a nice combination because we had a lot of veteran players who were kind of getting their last opportunity at playing hockey. And then we had rookies. So it was a wonderful combination of players. The team, like collective vibe was just super, like very family focused. So yeah, it was a really great ride, really great ride.
That is really cool. So then you were in Tampa Bay, and from there you did a little bit of work with NASCAR before you started work with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. What was that NASCAR job like? Again, switching from, going from that sport, hockey, going to racing. That's awesome.
Well, it was very different because in hockey, I had two areas of the business, right? So game presentation, you're fully invested in the game night experience from doors open to doors closed, creating that atmosphere for all of our fans and ticket holders and our players. And on the doing the same on the event side. When I went to NASCAR, I remember before I left for my first race, I had a meeting with my boss, and he said, whatever you do with 30 laps to go, get in your rental car and leave the track. And I was like, what? And I couldn't believe that he said that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm serious. Like, get the heck in the car. Do not delay. I said, and he's like, these races are put in locations that really don't have like business of hosting them just because of like the drive in and the
Yeah,
drive out. And he's like, you do not want to sit in traffic
yeah,
for all of those hours. And it was so strange. I remember calling him from my hotel room, and I'm like, is it weird that I'm like back in my room in my sweats, like watching the end of the race? And he's like, you're a smart girl. Good that you listened. Um,
there we go.
it was
That's
a
awesome.
really weird like shift because, being like so focused on people's experience at, within it was called the Ice Palace at the time, within that game night, really so focused on it to like not staying to the end of like a game or a race seemed like so strange to me. But I learned so much. I learned a ton about the Power brand. That NASCAR family, those fans, like they just really deep dive into their drivers and the brands that sponsor the drivers. And it's this amazing, huge community. And we would get to the track so early in the morning and do our work and set up what we needed to do, and you'd turn around and be like, where did all these people come from? This is so cool. um,
Yeah,
so it
that
was
is awesome.
fun. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I have.
I got to host, I worked the Daytona 500 one year and hosted some Tampa Bay Buccaneers players and coaches in our suite. And they went back apparently to the HR guy at the time and said, we found our person. We think we found our person.
Wow, that is such a that's something I've noticed more and more throughout my learning more about the sports industry is that these people get these positions just by meeting more people and by networking and by doing what they are currently doing really well, and people take notice of that. And I feel like so many people think that, oh, I need to go on to LinkedIn and apply to all these different jobs. And yes, of course, apply to those jobs, keep active in that, but if you can build those relationships, you can have a moment like that where you're hosting some people and they go back to their HR department and say, "We need this person on our staff."
I say this all the time to, students or people we're interviewing. That network is tremendous, and it
Hmm.
is a tool, and it's a blessing. I came
It
to know
is.
you because I worked with your mom, right? And, I
Yeah.
had that connection through your mom. And, it's just you kind of pass those relationships down and across. And that's really
Yeah.
special. Sports is a community. And sports is, it's the same whether you're in tennis or you're at NASCAR or the Winter Olympics or, enter the name of the sport here. It's, you build a
Hmm.
community, you build a team, you work as a team, you win or lose as a team, and that team carries you through.
Yeah.
And maybe it carries you even into that next chapter, that next job.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now that we've talked a little bit about some of the sports that you've been involved in, what is one thing that you feel like you've been able to carry from even your first job, just whether that's a skill or a trait or a mindset that you've carried through all of your positions that you think is really valuable?
Uh, I think maybe that's twofold. I think truly like my authentic self, like what you see is what you get.
Hmm.
And, that really the care that I have for that person's experience, whether you're traveling on a trip with me, or we're hosting an event, or we're building an event. My authentic self is really going to come through. My heart for what I'm doing, and really, most importantly, is my sense of team. I never want to step too far away from that. Being part of a team, rolling up my sleeves, and executing kind of as one is really something special.
Yeah, that's something that, again, that I feel like I've kind of picked up over time is that I really enjoy working in sports because it gives me that same kind of feeling that it did when I was an athlete and you're a part of a team that has a goal that's bigger than yourself. So I was a swimmer. I was swimming individually a
Right.
lot of the time. It was about what I was swimming and going in that time. But when we would get to these certain meets, it was about, all right, well, you need to get in the top five. You need to beat this other guy. You need to do this, and we can all collectively do this. And my first job with the Jets in New York in 2022, I'm running around doing all this stuff, and people are asking me, "Hey, can you go do this? Can you take this guy to get his MRI in Central Park?" And I'm like, oh man, I'm getting kind of tired, but then I'm looking around and I'm like, this isn't even about me. Like, this is about so bigger than just what I want to get out of this. And ever since that moment, it's just been like, oh man, this is so awesome. I'm a part of something bigger than myself. Oh
Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I
Everyone
absolutely agree with that.
contributes, and not every day is perfect. And you, as an athlete, you remember on those early morning swims, right? Not everyone comes to the pool with that same energy, and some days are tough. And you'd rather have like hit
Yeah.
snooze and rolled over and had 10 more minutes of sleep. And but having that team around you helps. They push you through a tough day or a challenging experience, or they share learnings with you that make you stronger and better. And they allow you to pull them along when they're having a tougher experience. So yeah, there's something pretty special about it.
That's beautiful. I'm glad to know that that trend carries across all the different sports.
It definitely does.
So now so now let's talk a little bit more about what you currently do. So I'm a big NBA fan. I love the NBA. I'm probably one of the biggest advocates for it because a lot of my friends always try to talk about, oh, I don't want to watch the NBA till the playoffs. No, I'm watching the Wednesday night, Tuesday night. And I've noticed just in general how the international global presence of the NBA has just expedited over the last few years. And that's one of your roles as being the global events vice president. So I was wondering if there's been some correlation in like your activity over the last few years, and in the sense that you've had to do more events in certain areas to try to get the people more intrigued and stuff.
Well, we're super blessed that our previous commissioner, David Stern, had an amazing vision for the league, and truly embraced that the international players, and had amazing lieutenants around him that pushed to really expand that talent pool. And we're truly blessed. We have an amazing international composition of athletes that take to the court every night, and they're so impressive. And because of where they come, that's where we go, and we
Yeah.
drop in to where they are from, and do grassroots programming and international games, and create MBA schools and academies and programs. And it's really a special sport, truly a global sport. and it allows us to touch a lot of lives, which is really cool.
Yeah. So tell me about one of your favorite community projects and events that you've done in the recent memory that you really want to talk about.
Well, one of the programs that I work on for our international basketball operations group is it's called Basketball Without Borders, and it's elite development camp. We're actually heading into our 25th year, but we do regional camps, Africa, Asia, Europe, in the Americas, for really elite boys and girls within those regions. They're invited to camp, typically 30 to 40, 17, 18-year-olds, and they're coached by NBA players, coaches, legends, and it's like the most beautiful experience. Our players and coaches donate their time. We are hosting these camps in amazing locations that are truly special unto themselves. Gives us the ability to work with this local community and great agencies and great people in places like I would never dream that I would be able to go. And
Yeah.
these kids are incredible. They don't speak each other's language, and in 5 minutes on the court, they are friends, and they're competing, and their
Yeah.
talent is incredible. And they're like sponges. They soak up all the sports education and the coaching and the love that our coaches and players are giving them. And it's wonderful. It's a 4-day camp, and at the end of it's so draining to leave it because it's so special.
Yeah.
So that's my favorite thing that we do. It's just a very authentic. This is basketball experience, and it's a wonderful mix of staff at all different levels, vendors, project workers, local vendors that we use, bring into the program, executives.
Yeah.
Everyone's like on the bus in the same color shirt every day, and having breakfast together. And that's what makes our league work.
Yeah.
People contributing at all levels with all of their different skill sets and talents, and so that's the blessing. Yeah, it's my favorite event.
That is so awesome. How often do you guys do those events? Do you guys do them like once a month or once every other month or something?
It's typically there's 6 in a year. The regional camps are done
Okay.
in the summertime internationally, and then we tie a men's camp of 40, 17, 18-year-olds, or 40 girls to either the NBA All-Star Weekend and the WNBA All-Star Weekend. They're private events. They're attended by media and scouts and team personnel, so it's a pretty big
Yeah.
opportunity for these young players, and it's always amazing to see how they rise to the occasion. And we have, I think currently we have over 100, maybe 110 players on current rosters who have been through the camp.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. Like
Yeah,
that's got to be like an absurd percentage of them just to make it to the NBA.
yeah, really, really cool.
That's awesome. So then that's one of your favorite parts of your job. What is something that is a challenge that faces you on a consistent basis, whether it's a language barrier or, just communicating when you're on the road or all those different things? What's something that presents a challenge for you often?
Probably what's challenging for our department is, it's a pretty stringent pace, or strict pace of work. A lot of travel. The majority of my work is international, so it's the ability to fly 17 hours, land, and go to a meeting an hour later or 45 minutes later, and kind of have your day, and get things
Yeah.
done. You get things done quickly, as like you know kind of storming into things, but appreciating the culture of how they do business and adapting to that pretty quickly. But it's a great challenge always. Not every place we go to is ideal for maybe like the basketball environment. So maybe it's, we did a game in India one time, which was super challenging across like the venue we were hosting. And, sometimes you're very focused on the team experience, but you also have to focus, maybe take attention off the team and focus on the back end and, on that infrastructure, the building, the court, to make sure the air conditioning is okay. And that experience on the court will be successful for them. But those are good challenges. They keep you up at night for sure. And they keep the days really long, but those are good
Nice.
challenges. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nothing too dramatic or crazy, but I can imagine that those flights can sure add up.
Yeah, we've had a few, we've had a lot of dramas, but, we always have a good team behind it trying to get it resolved. And if you have a little bit of sense of humor, that helps too.
There we go. Well, so then I'm not going to take too much of your time. Just to kind of wrap up this little interview. What is something that you would like people who are trying to work in sports? What's something they should know about either the reality of sports, some advice to them about getting their foot in the door, all those different things that you would say to a 21-year-old that's about to graduate college and wants to work in sports?
I think that there's getting your foot in the door, but there's following like a path that you love and is going to be authentic to you. Sports jobs are tough. There's, limited turnover. And I think a lot of people's inclination is like, oh, ticketing. There's a lot of more opportunities maybe in ticketing. And if you don't have a heart for it, like that's not going to be a great experience for you, and you're not going to do
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
So I would
Yep.
say be careful about taking something that's not like really authentic to you. Like don't force it, and build your network, as we talked about. I think it's also super important to, kind of be the what next guy and how can I help, and not in like an obnoxious way, but in a being very generous with yourself and your job, and not just saying, well, that's not my job description. I really believe I would never be where I am if I hadn't been, someone who came a little early or stayed a little late or was happy to volunteer for another department. Because you
Yeah.
learn more when you put your hand up. You learn more about different departments. All of a sudden you learn more about your team or your league. You become more valuable when you do that. And you learn a lot more and a lot faster, as opposed to just putting your head down and doing what's focused on your job. I also always encourage people, I had a lot of interns in my days, and I would, map out like this is the week ahead of us, or these are what we want to accomplish, things we want to accomplish. But don't just do the things, like just don't be task oriented, be kind of why oriented, why are we doing this? Why is it important?
Yeah.
What does this plus this equals what,
Yeah.
and ask the questions behind it. Because if you're just super task focused, like you're not going to take everything in that can make you a stronger asset. So make sure to spend time with people who are willing to teach you.
Absolutely. I can definitely agree that spending time around people who are willing to teach it's like you're just a sponge 24/7, because they will give you every piece of knowledge they've ever had. So I would absolutely second that. And I'm still using those techniques myself.
It's great. I mean, sometimes it's just about like being in the room with someone. When I shifted
Yeah.
from, I was working in the NFL, and when I shifted to the NBA, you know, on the first line on what I was looking for in my next opportunity was like, I want to just be in a room with someone who, by listening to him or her, I am going to learn. And I had this great boss who
Yeah.
hired me at the NBA, and just by proximity, how he reacted, how he led a meeting, how he led a team, how he trusted his team, how he challenged them. It's learning kind of by osmosis or by proximity. and it's important. Like, pay attention. And sometimes you don't have a great boss. Sometimes you could have a really lousy one, and a really challenging, tough experience. And there are so many lessons in that, about how you want to see yourself as a leader, or a teammate, how you want to craft an environment for your group. So even sometimes with the bad comes really great lessons. So pay attention.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You hear that, everyone? Pay attention. Again, thank you so much for joining me and the audience today, Miss Killeen. I wish you the best with the upcoming summer. I'm sure you'll be very busy this summer. So thank you for taking some time with me before this all picks back up again. So again, thank you so much. Thank you to all my listeners and friends and family that support me. And we'll be back with another episode very soon, and you're not going to want to miss it. Thanks again for listening, and have a good one.